Every prep for me is the biggest personal development, right? I realign myself to things because when you're not in focusing on a direct goal like that, whether it is a competitive goal where you have to look your best at a timeline, you kind of let things off. Like, oh, I'm waking up a little later, right? Or, hey, the gym's just a little bit later. Now it's like every second of the day is used wisely, bro, because you only have so much energy to push.
Danny,
Welcome, bro.
welcome to the podcast, brother.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, what season in life are you right now? Spiritually, emotionally, physically?
Season of life. Well, I just got married.
Yeah,
So
congrats on that, by the way.
Yeah. So I think that's a big one.
Huge.
I think overall, man, it's like, I think the past 4 to 5 years, it was just more so like, just like really grinding and like solidifying myself into everything I'm doing. Now that I got married, it's almost like taking a step back and then taking her and then growing out even bigger, right? It's like I told you during training, it's like the why just keeps getting bigger, right? It's like you first hop into your first venture, your why's there, right?
Yeah.
It's like you're trying to build yourself, you're trying to develop yourself, and then you bring on somebody with you and it's like the why gets even bigger, right? Because it's no longer just about you. And I think that's one thing that I really took away from this year. It's like, it's really not about you, and once I really had that at the forefront, everything I do, it's like so much intentional and it's so purposeful behind what I do. And it just creates such a, I don't know, every single day, it's just like, I wake up and I enjoy waking up. Right. And I think a lot of people don't have that, and they don't have that fire of waking up and just chasing something every single day, whether it is, a business or just to continue to build themselves. So that for me, it's like the growth aspect of this season. It's more like finding comfort and peace while chasing something aggressively.
Finding comfort and peace while chasing something aggressively. I love that. And when you're building with your partner, dude, and you guys are, because like it's the same thing with me and Claudia. We're building this business. You and your partner are building what you guys are building. I love to see it, dude. It makes it so much easier and so much better. And I was just talking to a guy last week, and it's interesting because there's the dichotomy of the cheerleader to football player or the team player. And he's like, dude, like I would never want my girl to be in business with me. Like I just want her to stay at home and cook my meals and support me. But it's like, dude, I love that. Like I love being in business with my girl and like building something with her. Just because like, I don't know about you, but it's like, if I'm working, I'm in the office from before 8 a.m. past 8 p.m. Like I'm doing a million things. I'm running 1,000,000 miles an hour, doing 100 different things, boom, boom, boom. Like all these meetings, dealing with this bullshit's going on, this thing's going over here. And you come home and it's like, well, how was your day, honey? Yeah. It's like, dude, I don't even know where to start.
Exactly, dude. It's a very hard explanation because finding somebody who can understand you, right, from the things that you do, from the training aspect to like being a leader and actually being at the forefront of everything as well. I think when you find somebody like that, right, like you said, some people are like, oh, don't do business with your girl, like it's not going to work out. But I think if you really draw the line between things, right, where you're coming home from work and it's just you and her and like, hey, work's done. And I think being a great leader, you know how to stop things like that rather than continue to bring everything into once. Because the last thing you want to do is go home and be like, hey, did you talk to our agent, blah, blah, blah. And it's still business talk, right? For me, how I separate is like right at like 8:39, work's done.
Yeah.
Right? Because we could do it again tomorrow. Yeah. It continues.
Yeah. That's important. Would you say you guys are good at separating the two?
100%. We have times where we time block things where it's just like work and we focus on scaling, focus on how do we improve our business. And then there's, like I said, 9 p.m. It's like we cut it off, right? Because we can talk about business all day, right? Business will always grow. Business doesn't have emotions, So for us, right at 9, dude, it's like right where we cut it. And we always have dinner together, right? We always, even if it's our bodybuilding meals, whatever it is, we always separate a time where, hey, dinner will always be together.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that has been a huge game changer for us, bro. Because before it was like, hey, you watch your stuff on TV, I watch my stuff on YouTube. And for me, it's like, I'll continue to watch like, educational stuff, but we solidified like a certain time where we have dinner together. And dude, that changes the game, bro, because that's when you can truly ask, how was your day?
How was your day? That's important. That was one thing my dad was always adamant about as a kid growing up, is we always had to have dinner together. And that was a big deal. And it's funny you bring that up, because the business we're in with life insurance is like dealing with people and dealing with problems. So it's like, it's harder to separate the two. So we're still working on that balance. But one thing Claudia is maniacal about is weekend date nights.
100%.
Weekend date nights.
Yep.
And it's like, that's where we shut off our phone and we just do that. But it's when you can find joy in the grind and find joy and passion in what you're building, dude, it's just, we've all heard the saying is, create a life you never have to take a vacation from.
100%.
And that's so true. Me and Claudia went to Tulum over the weekends for our birthdays.
Yeah. How was that?
Oh, dude, it was sick.
Yeah. Was that your first time?
First time. We've been to Mexico many times before, but
Tulum?
first time in Tulum.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
We went to that. So, dude, nobody goes to the beaches there. So it's the cenotes.
Oh, yeah.
What we learned people go to.
Cenotes. Yeah.
The cenotes.
The caves, like with the water. Beautiful, right?
Beautiful. And so Tulum, because like, dude, we flew into Cancun. And Cancun is just like, I don't know, like it's just like,
yeah, it's different.
It's basically just a white touristy, like bunch of like overweight white people there.
Yeah.
But like Cancun or Tulum, it's like, it's got a different vibe to it.
Yeah.
It's got a different vibe. Like you're in the jungle and the beach is right there. And yeah, it's cool. We really enjoyed it. But the reason I bring that up is we're sitting at the resort. Dude, this wasn't even 2 or 3 days in. This was the first day. We sat at the resort and we're sitting by the pool. And 3 hours into sitting by the pool, it's like, all right, dude, I'm like, we need to go do something. I can't sit here anymore. So then we went to the jungle gym and I worked out for 2 hours, and then we got food and dinner and explored and went out in the jungle. But when it's cenotes, but it's like, dude, it's like, people talk about their envision of heaven. And they think of like, oh, like when we go to heaven, or if you believe in that, it's, I'm just going to be sitting in a lawn chair with, sitting in a golden chair, getting fed grapes. And like, it's just going to be this luxurious. I don't think that's what heaven is at all. No. Because 3 hours into that, I'd probably smack the grapes out of somebody's hand and say like, let's do something. Let's build something. So with that being said, let me ask you, Danny, what are some things that you're actively working on building either within yourself or your business right now?
Personally, for me, business will always continue to scale, right? But for me, it's like always getting back to exactly why I got into it in the first place.
Yeah.
Right? Because when you're focused on growing it so much, you're talking about more volume, more helping people, which is not a bad thing. Because I always think like when you make a certain level of finances or money, that just determines your value, right? Because the thing is, people don't understand. It's like, hey, why do you talk about money all the time? It's like, why would I not talk about money? Right? I'm helping people, right? That is why I make so much money, right? It's like you're helping people, making impact, and then the fruits of it's just like, hey, you have more money, right? Which can open up more opportunities to help other people, right? So for me, I would say right now, as far as like I'm in prep as well, for me to like separate business, prep, relationship, none of it really separates, right? I am the business, and I think for you, even for you, man, it's like you are the business, right? Like Jonah Lewis is the business, right? And I think as you walk into, your fitness, your relationship, your marriage, everything as a whole, dude, like the more you wake up with that passion to help people, it just comes like tenfold every single time.
Absolutely. Let me ask you, Danny, how long have you been bodybuilding for?
Bodybuilding. So competitive bodybuilding, man, it's crazy because I've been doing it for 12 years.
How long have you been working out for?
Around 12.
12.
Yeah. So the thing is, competitive wise, like, I'll compete every other year. For me, bodybuilding itself, it's always about the development of it, right? People think like, hey, you do bodybuilding means you need to compete. No, bodybuilding is just development, right? It's like playing a game. You play a game, you get coins and you level up. It's the same thing. That's why some people don't understand. It's like, oh, I go to the gym, I work out, I get to a certain level of look or tissue, but it's like you will continuously be the same person if you don't level up your mindset.
Yes.
Right? Me right now being 220 peeled, it's like I have a completely different mindset when I was 15, 16, right? Drinking, partying, drugs, like just doing the pleasurable things, right? Sitting in comfort. But people don't realize like once I let go of the vices, my mindset developed, my physique took a whole different level. Right?
What was that switch for you?
Ooh, the switch?
Yes.
So the biggest thing is, just to backtrack a little bit, my why will always be me being better than my father. Right. And I think that's the biggest push for me because he is a refugee coming from Vietnam. So for me, it's like we compete on a level where it's like a loving, right? And there's no better feeling, bro. I will tell you, I get goosebumps talking about this. There's no better feeling than having my dad look at me in the eye and say, I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
I think that like that hits me, bro. He said it like a couple times through me like developing and like really jumping and doing my own thing, right? Because he came over here as a refugee, 15, 16 years old, not a lick of English. Okay. Leaving a country where his dad was in Vietnam War, FBI, Secret Service. Like, he's still alive in Vietnam right now. But the thing is, he traveled here to give me an opportunity, right? So when I was going through high school, fucking up, like getting in trouble, we had those sit down conversations, and being like the Asian household, he doesn't really yell. You know what I mean? Like he'll yell at me, like knowing like I did bad mistakes, whatever. But for me, it's like him lecturing me, knowing
was you a physical guy? Would he ever just beat your ass?
No.
Never.
No. Growing up as a kid, yeah, but like in middle school and high school, he never hit me.
Yeah.
But I think him coming over here and giving me this opportunity, I'd never look past that. Right. So for me, it's like, how can I not be better than my dad when he came over here when he was 15, 16, owning a mechanic shop, right? Building out his own dream, living in a beautiful house. Like, how can I not be better than that? Right. When somebody comes over here with zero opportunity, right? He got thrown into high school, bro. And I remember him telling me the only word he knew was hamburger. That's it.
It's a good one to know.
Yeah, he's like, hamburger. That's all he knew. Sitting in the cafeteria, his friend at that time was like, it's hamburger, and he would go through it. He dropped out, okay, and then went to go work for Honda as a mechanic, right? And then went to general manager and then opened his own business. So for me, it's like, how can I be anything less than that?
Does he do pretty well now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, phenomenally.
Yeah.
At this point, it's like he just wants to retire, but doesn't know how. He doesn't want to stop. Right? Because the thing is, he still has people that he supports as an employee.
Yeah.
Right? Livelihood, they have family. So how can he not support that? He could sell it, but he's a workhorse, bro. He doesn't want to stop.
That's why you're a dog. I read a statistic that said 70% of millionaires, 70% of American millionaires are first and second generation immigrants, which makes sense because growing up, that's such an important perspective to have of like seeing your dad, even though you never went through that, seeing your dad go through that and telling you those stories. It just goes to show how truly blessed you really are.
Yeah.
Because the kids that grew up like perfect household, white picket fence, never had to struggle, never dealt with adversity. Those people rarely become successful.
Yeah.
Because like going through the valleys and going through the challenges, that's what develops you to the person you are. And also having the right perspective. That's all life is perspective.
It is, bro. I think it's all perspective, right? Because the world itself is just a reflection of you.
Yeah.
Right. If you see the world as, man, like, why is the world's not giving me opportunity? It's because you don't see value in yourself. The only person you should validate is yourself.
Yeah.
Right. It's like levels to a game. Like I said, right. How does a person go from a Lambo to a Bugatti? Money. How does a person go from Bugatti to the next thing? Development. It's all development, bro. Right. Because the biggest thing is like, see my dad go through that. And I think there's a lot of kids who are second generation, first generation Americans, whatever it is here. I think they really look past that. You know what I mean? Because maybe their parents were working so much during that time that they're like, oh, like they're not here to take care of me, but you still have a purpose. Right. So for me itself, it's like I've never looked past that, bro. Even on the days I feel a little bit down, the days I just like, you just don't feel like it. You know what I mean? You just don't feel like it. It's just an off day. That's always like a forefront for me.
I love that. You've been working out for 12 years. What were some early fitness mistakes you made?
Ooh, fitness mistakes? Okay. Well, biggest thing is having the all-out mentality, bro. I'm all in.
You really are. That's why I love working out with you.
Yeah.
Because some people are like, oh, like, do you do high volume, intensity? You're like, do fucking both. Yeah. Like, we're repping out 20 sets.
We're going
past failure, assisted. You're just fucked by the end of it.
Yeah.
So you would say not being as intentional or as intense when you first started?
So the biggest thing is when I first got into it, I think there was a lot of things that were under the hood per se, right? Not liking the person I am and kind of just going in there as a release. But now it's that's powerful motivation.
Yeah, it
is very powerful.
Go to war with the man in the mirror.
Yeah, which is why I have this tattoo.
Yeah.
Right? The tattoo itself is lion. We have the pagoda, the time, and the Buddha. Right? And the cool thing about all this is it means controlled aggression. Right? The lion, king of the jungle. Pagoda is the temple. You are that. Buddha is just peace. Right? And time is like you never get back. So it's just like one whole thing. I thought about this in a prep 3 years ago. I never wanted a tattoo, but I was like, I need something that resembles me.
Yeah.
Right? Where I can be, because most people look at like a 250-pound guy is like, fuck, that guy's probably, you know what I mean? But for me, it's like, dude, it's controlled, right? I can use it to things I need, right? Whether it's business, I gotta be very aggressive at it, you know? But when it's time to come back, I'm a chill guy.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that's how it needs to be. You'll have those ebbs and flows, but
it's controlled. That's why some of the big, like you look at it, like you said, you look at a big bodybuilder in the gym, you're like, oh, fuck, I don't want to fuck with that. Yeah. It's like some of the biggest people are the nicest people.
100%.
And that's why school shooters, they all look like females and betas.
Exactly.
Because it's not controlled. They don't know how to control their emotions.
100%. Yeah. So a big mistake for me in the beginning, dude, I truly feel like it was more so, number one, not having a plan, right? I loved going into the gym, but I didn't have a direct plan, right? So my vision wasn't strong enough. So once it was on paper, I knew exactly what I needed to do. It was game, right? Because everybody has a plan in their head. Everybody has thoughts, how great they want to be.
Oh, and can you talk closer to the mic?
Yeah. It's like everybody has a plan on how great they want to be, but what does it look like on paper though, right? What's the data, right? So once I started tracking, I was a little bit more meticulous, a little bit more detailed about what I did. That's what separated everything, bro. That's when I went from like, you know, putting on some muscle to making like leaps and bounds in a couple years. You know,
tracking the weight of the weights, your macros, your weight,
my
everything.
Mindset. Going into that day. Yes. So I still have it to this day. It's crazy. It's a notebook I got on Amazon for like $10. And then in the note section of it, I would write down how I felt. Right. So every single day I was writing the blueprint of my success. Right. It's like every single day that I'm tracking what my mindset did, what I did that day, I repeat it. Right. Because I truly believe, bro, people fall to their habits. You know, I'm the first one to tell anybody I'm proud of them. Right? If they make some good strides or they hit their goal, I will be telling you, yo, I'm proud of you. Right? But sometimes people trigger me only because their habits. I love people. That's why I like doing fitness, but people trigger me because their habits. I'm like, dude, do you know how great you could be if you just fix these shitty habits or vices you have? That's the only thing, bro. Like, I love people in general, but it just comes down to their habits, bro.
Yep.
Right? And when they speak to me, I can almost see in their soul, like, dude, how great could you be if you just got up a little bit earlier to give yourself that time?
Well, because 85% of what we do is subconscious.
100%.
We do it without even realizing it. So really, if you want to reprogram yourself, you first have to start with reprogramming your consciousness.
100%.
Show me your schedule. And to dig even further than that, show me your calendar.
Yeah.
Is it in your calendar?
Exactly.
My love language is Google Calendar invite. Yeah, like for this podcast, bro, shot you over the invite. If you're working out with me, I'll shoot you the calendar. Like everything is in my calendar and everything is meticulous. So like you said, like writing it down in your notebook or putting it in your Google Calendar. But if you can map it out physically in some way, shape, or form, then you can meticulously stick to that. Because it's like the whole thing between discipline or motivation.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, you know, I feel good, so I'm gonna work out, or I don't feel good, so I'm not. But like, dude, if it's in your calendar, if it's written down, who gives a fuck if you feel like it or not? You got to do it. You got to execute on it.
Yeah.
And take it a step further is like, that's why working with like yourself, like working with a coach is so important, because we all need somebody to hold us accountable.
Dude,
on days that doesn't matter.
Every leader needs a leader. Every coach needs a coach. Right. And I've noticed that myself, man. Like that's the biggest thing I invest in. Right now, I have a finance coach, I have a business coach, I have a training coach, and a nutrition coach, all separately. Right. And my funds go all through that, and I do not mind. Right. Because if we all realize it, it is the cheat code to life. People who have already done it, right? That you don't have to make the mistakes and you literally can leapfrog. That's why like books are so important, right? Whether you're reading
books, mentorship. Yep.
Yeah. Like all those are so important, bro. It's like you're getting so much knowledge in a very short period of time, right? And nowadays there's so much information out there, so much knowledge. We don't need more. We need implementation, right? We need implementation. So many people want, hey, like I need a next mentor. I need the next thing. It's like, that's fine. But are you implementing those things? You know, because the biggest thing is if you're not implementing it, it comes down to your development then. You haven't developed yourself hard enough and long enough to actually take in the information to implement. Right?
Speaking of which, I was reading a book this morning. It was Principles by Ray Dalio.
Okay.
And in that book, one thing I learned just today that I'll share was he was talking about money versus relationships. And he said that when it comes to deciding between money or relationships, there's no amount of money I would take over a meaningful relationship
100%.
because there's nothing I can buy with money that's more valuable than a meaningful relationship.
100%.
And I was like, damn.
Yeah.
That hits.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah, dude. I mean, we're all here to serve. We're all here for people, right? Because at the end of the day, you could have everything else, everything in the world on your own planet, but you wouldn't be happy.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. Speaking of which, what's one thing you've learned from each mentor? First of all, starting with nutrition. Because I think that's one thing where people go, I see so many people go wrong of like, oh, dude, like I'm a carnivore, I'm keto, or I'm paleo, or I'm this, or I'm that. And people just, whatever it is, like nutrition and meal plans, people just go to the extreme with them.
Yeah, dude.
So what's one thing, not only one thing you've learned, but also one mistake or one misconception that you had in the past that you've changed since then?
So when it comes to nutrition, I keep things very simple, right? Number one, what foods do you enjoy? Right? Because people, again, they hop on the next fad diet, whatever, you know, hey, what's the new trend that's coming out? Because everybody's on it in social media, because it helps with your gut, it helps with energy. But the thing is, number one, if it's not something you enjoy, you can't stick to it. Right? Number two, is it palatable? Can you digest it? Right? Some people want to eat tons of meat, carnivore, but it's like, does your stomach acidity, can it even digest that? Are you somebody who loves meat and can digest it? Right. So, you know, as far as that goes, what was the other one? Yes.
And then what was one thing that a misconception that you've had about diet and nutrition when you first started 12 years ago in your bodybuilding fitness journey that you've since then changed?
Okay. So a huge misconception was, especially when you are in a growing phase. Nowadays, people like call it bulking, lean gaining. In the beginning, I thought it was more so like eating tons of food, like overconsumption of food. But in reality, you only need to be in a surplus for, you know, let's say weeks on end. You don't need to be in 1,000 to 2,000 of a surplus every single, right? Let's say your maintenance at 35, you could grow off maybe 4,000, right? Stay there consistently, add in just a little bit of food. For me in the beginning, dude, putting on 30, 40 pounds and then just feeling bloated, low energy, low libido wasn't doing me that much service, right? So it's like, you don't need to over consume food just to get to a certain size, right? Because the biggest thing it comes down to is going to be your training, your recovery.
Yep. And you also, if I'm eating 500 plus calories versus 1,000 plus calories versus 15 plus calories above my maintenance, you can't, by overfeeding yourself, you can't force your muscles to grow anymore.
No, you can force it in the gym. You can force yourself to get uncomfortable and actually like create the stimulus, right? But you also have to be able to recover from it. So the food aspect, like you said, going from 500 extra to 1,000, you're talking about 500 extra daily, right? 500 extra daily, which will over time, because here's the thing, people don't realize, maybe one day you're a little bit more active, right? And then the next day you're not as active, but you're still eating a 500 calorie surplus every single time. It's like, okay, you're going to be putting on some sort of fat, right? Which is going to be beneficial for growing.
Yeah.
But, you know, for me now, it's like stay as lean as you can, right? But biggest thing is make sure everything else is in order, right? And the biggest thing when I said everything else in order is the mindset. Okay. Mindset has to be first. Make sure you understand why you're even doing this for the growth aspect, right? And that's why I always try to tell you too, man, it's like, if you're going to do this bodybuilding thing or like hypertrophy training, let that be the light into everything else you do. All right. And that's one thing I try to preach across all my athletes. It's like, hey, if you're going to do this fitness thing, let it apply to everything else you do. How can it not? You know, some people can go into the gym, look absolutely jacked, but they still suck at life.
But they have a shitty mindset.
Yeah. They have a shitty mindset. They still suck at life. You know, and that's
funny. We were just talking about that. Like how many guys that I know, and I'm sure you know, where they're really dedicated and motivated in the gym and they're on point with the gym, but they're broke.
100%.
They're broke financially. They have a broke mindset.
Everything.
So yeah, accelerating. That's one thing I really love and respect about you of like, dude, you're winning in all aspects of life. And that's one thing that you preach on heavily with not only yourself, but also the people that you coach.
100%. And I think that it took me time to learn that, right? Because even in high school, dude, I was like, to kind of like trail back a little bit. I mean, I started when I was 15. Right. And going 15, I remember prepping my own food, doing my own education. And that actually stemmed from one mistake in high school. You don't know this, but I'm going to tell you. So when I was 15, 16, it was homecoming night. Shout out to the girl I went with. Okay.
Yeah.
15, 16. And I had a crush on her. I was like, oh, thank God I'm going with this girl, like, yes. But during this time, I don't know if you knew this either, but I was cheerleading in high school.
You were a cheerleader?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. I wrestled and I cheered. Yeah. So I threw the girls up. I tumbled. I did all that. I'll show you some videos.
Okay.
Right. And she was like, yeah, well, I'll go with you. So during that time, the cheerleading thing is like, these girls like to party. Okay. So I went to homecoming and one of the guys were like, hey, let's bring some liquor. All right, let's bring some. And I remember being at my house, going into my parents' little liquor box, whatever, pouring it into a water bottle. You're like, oh, it's water, Yeah. We got there. He drove there. We were all in the car. We all started sipping on it in the car once we got there. I went inside. We started dancing, having a great time. And then obviously, once you start sweating, you reek of alcohol. Okay. So I'm walking out. Homecoming's done. They turn the lights on. Right when I'm walking out those double doors, one of the sheriffs next to us said, hey, come here. Bro, this is the turning point why I got into fitness, right? So he says, hey, come here. And I'm like, dude, and my heart's beating so fast. I'm messed up at this time. Okay. And he comes over like, you been drinking? I was like, nah, dude, I'm good. You want me to do a backflip? I'm good. That's how drunk I was. I was like, I can do anything right now. I was like, I could do anything right now. You want me to do a backflip? He's like, no, come on. He pulls me into the conference room. Okay. And keep in mind, the principal of the high school that I was going to is my second aunt. Okay. So I sit in there. I hear all the kids leaving, the music slowly turning down. Okay. It's just loud. Everybody's leaving. And then I start hearing my name through the double doors. Like, hey, you see Danny, blah, blah, blah. I sit down and I'm just sitting there, bro, sweating, and I can smell myself, and then she walks in. She's like, what's going on? And this is when we're going to state, it's in the fall, right? Football cheerleading season. We're going to state to compete. And she's like, call your dad. I'm like, dude, my God, bro, call my dad. And this is 10 p.m. this time. Okay. So I call my dad and he's like, I think he's sleeping at this time. He's like, hello. It's like, hey, can you pick me up? Why? It's like, I just need you to pick me up. So we wait there 25, 30 minutes. He pulls up. I'm in the conference room. She's sitting there, bro. She didn't tell me nothing, bro. She didn't say a word. She didn't say why I did it, where it is it. Okay. My dad comes in. He's like, what's up? And then she tells him, hey, son's been drinking, blah, blah. She's like, where's the rest of the bottle? I was like, it's in the bathroom, It's an empty water bottle, threw in the trash. I got in the car. Okay. She tells me hey, we'll talk Monday. There's going to be consequences to this, blah, blah, blah. I get in the car. My dad is the most silent drive home in 30 minutes, bro. The most silent drive, bro. And I don't know if you know, but that hurts, bro.
Yeah. That's
right?
The worst.
It's the silent treatment that just hurts. Tell me, tell me what I need to hear.
You'd rather have him yelling at you than just be silent.
You know what I mean? Let it hit me. Tell me nothing. I go home, I sleep, I wake up, and I feel like dog shit, bro. I remember this it was yesterday, Jonah, okay? I feel like dog shit, right? My dad went to work already, okay? Yeah, so he went to work that day doing some admin stuff. And I wake up, dude, and I put some headphones on and I run. Just run, bro. Just run around my neighborhood, right? Because I just feel like shit. And I was like, I got to move, I just felt like this alcohol was sitting in me. So I start running, I start sweating, dude, and I felt like I was on a high, bro. Right. And I think that's what really triggered it. You know what I mean? I triggered the high. I was like, man, this is what I need to do. I felt like this was my potential. Right. I just felt like I was the highest of the highest, bro. I sweated all that shit out. And it was like me shedding off the worst version of myself. And I had the whole perspective, I feel like shit. The more I moved, the better I got. The next day, my dad sat me down. He obviously lectured me. He said, hey, you need to do better. That's it. He didn't yell at me. He's like, you know better. Right. I'm the middle child. My older brother always got in trouble. So I just knew better. Next day or next couple weeks, I was 15. I couldn't even get a membership at this time. My parents had a co-sign. I had to be 16, and it's fall time, October. So I wait a couple weeks and then I got my first membership at Anytime Fitness. My dad co-signed it right when I was 16. And that's when my whole journey started, bro.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I got in there. I drove. And keep in mind, dude, I was 8 a.m. starts class in high school. Dude, I was up 4:35 getting in my first training session before class even started. Right. I was addicted to it, bro. I knew I wanted to make the transformation. I wanted to make the change. And I remember telling my professor hey, I need to eat. right? And keep in mind, I'm already prepping bags of food, like prepping bags, bro. I have pictures of it, right? 15, 16, weighing stuff out, doing my own education on the forums, bodybuilding, YouTube. That's when it was coming out at that time. And I would prep all my food and I'll bring it and be like, hey, I need to eat my meals. And she's like, yeah, it's fine. Like, just sit in the back so it doesn't stink, And I was eating like tilapia and fish in the back, And then once I got into it and I started to see my body change, people in the gym was like, bro, you're making some crazy progress. And keep in mind, I'm up at like 5 during this time, right? So that's why for me now, it's like, I've already been doing it, And that's why people are like, man, how did you get to this position as somebody who is a coach? Because most coaches don't make it out until like doing their own thing. You know what I mean? Unless they have their own gym or whatever it is. But now for me, it's like after those little journeys and those little habits, dude, I literally, number one, couldn't gain weight. So you know what I did? I bought loaves of bread and I put peanut butter on each one, peanut butter jelly on each one, bro. So I would have my whole food meal on top of a PBJ, right? And my weight started gaining and gaining and gaining. And I remember that time, one of my professors like, why are you coming here with so much energy? Like, you're drinking energy drinks. I remember vividly, he was my social studies teacher. He's like, man, like you have a high energy in the morning. It's like, I'm good. I just got done working out. And he couldn't believe it. I was like, I was the kid who was like separating it because no kids were doing that, bro. Yeah. Nobody in my class. Yeah. I never hung out in anybody in my class. Like it was always older than me, right? It's like my brother's friends or, I don't know, let's say like people I met from like a coaching team that I was friends with. That's what I vibed with. And then that year, 16 to 17, I did my first bodybuilding show ever. Prepped myself, did everything myself. Okay. And I remember these guys that
at
came
age 16 to 17. Mm-hmm. Let's go.
Yeah. I'll show you some photos. It's crazy. And I documented everything, bro. I documented my mindset. And the thing is, people ask me through Instagram all the time. I documented everything. And it's crazy because after that time, dude, from the 16, 17 in my first show, all these guys were late 30s, bro. And I'm this kid. Right, late 30s, and I placed third out of like the top open guys, okay, which is like older guys. I was like, dang, I like this feeling, right? And it was like cool to get the rewards. Like, I made third out of these older guys. I beat these other guys, and for me, it wasn't even about that. It's about the whole journey that led up to it, bro. I knew exactly where I was, and the changes I made. That was the blueprint. That was literally the blueprint, bro. Right? The process that I was doing every single day, waking up at 5, doing my cardio before class even started at 8, I just knew there was no kid in high school doing the shit I was doing. Right? I was separating myself and I'm like, I'm going to be 21 at some point in my life. Why don't I just stick to this one thing that I like doing right now? Right? So this passion led over into now my whole career, my whole job. Right? It's like, how can I, every single day, dude, there's not a point in my day where I'm like, dang, bro, like, I don't like what I do. How can I not, bro? I remember praying to God, just guide me. Don't do it for me. I remember praying, bro, in bed, just praying, let me do something in fitness, right? Just let me do something in fitness, all right? Because I didn't want to be a personal trainer at a gym, right? I didn't want to be tied down. I'm like, please let me do something. And he continued to guide me. I joined some teams and then I just worked it up, bro. And I just did my own thing.
What a blessing it is to be passionate about what you're doing.
Dude, there's no better feeling, bro. Like, I don't have to see fucking goosebumps, bro. It's a passion, bro. Like, dude, there's no better feeling knowing that you can have a domino effect into somebody's life, right? I have guys who are like way older than me, bro, 50s, 60s, and they still need somebody way younger than them, some help, right? Because it wasn't even about the timeline of age, bro, right? It's about development. Some guys I work with never gone through development, right? I have a guy right now, big shout out to him. He works in the mind calling business in Utah. Right? His dad never said, or at least ever told him, hey, it is okay to express your emotions. Never. So through his whole journey from being married, having kids, bro, he's like, yeah, dude, like I've always kept it in. And then I got him on a call and was like, hey, bro, like, how do you truly feel? Like, open up for me a little bit. He's like, I've never had somebody tell me that. You know? Yeah. And I'm like, dude. And then now, dude, he's on a different wave, bro. He wants to open up his gym. He has finances for that. Like, he just wants to separate, And that's so crazy because when you truly get to your best, physically, mentally, why do most people become their own entrepreneur business person, right? It's like they jump into things because of self-belief. People don't have that nowadays. Self-belief.
What would you say fundamentally stems down to building unstoppable self-confidence?
Evidence.
Yep. Keeping the promises that you made to yourself.
100%.
That's it.
Evidence.
That's it. And it goes back to what we were talking about earlier of just documenting and staying consistent
100%.
and sticking to your word and your habits. Your habits.
It is.
That's it. Because think about Danny. If I hit you up and say, hey, bro, you want to go to lunch? You're like, sure. I'm like, all right, cool. Meet me at Sunda, 12 o'clock. All right, see you there. And I don't show up.
Yeah.
Then I call you after. I'm like, hey, bro, dude, I'm so sorry. Like something came up. Hey, dude, I'll make it up to you. Lunch on me. Let's go meet tomorrow. Same time. Does that work for you? You're like, cool. And then I don't show up. And it's like, eventually, after 1 or 2 times of me doing that, you lose faith in me as a friend. And I would be a pretty shitty friend.
Yep.
But we're doing that to ourselves every single day.
Yep.
Not keeping the promises we made to ourselves.
Yeah.
And I also want to go back to what you said. Is like, bro, I remember because I had a similar progression. I started working out a little bit later at 19 years old.
Yeah.
But it's like, dude, I stopped partying. I stopped doing drugs, got completely sober. And dude, I just had like so much rage and anger of like trying to just destroy the old me. I just go to the gym and I just work out for 2 hours, bro.
Yeah.
And I remember, and it's one of the best parts about starting in your fitness journey is right when you start. Because you're not working out and you start working out. So like, dude, you're seeing gains and progression and you're like, oh, dude, you're looking in the mirror. I'm looking good. But then it's like after a couple years of doing that, it's like, then you start to hit a plateau. So what would you say to the people listening to this where they're like, Danny, like I'm working out, I'm eating healthy, but dude, I'm not seeing progress.
That's a really good one because I would say this, you can train your ass off. You can eat the right foods. You can focus on your sleep, right? But that doesn't always guarantee you actual progress, right? Because the thing is, you can hit your non-negotiables every single day, but that doesn't lead you to actually getting to the goal, right? So the biggest separator there is the internal work. People understand that, right? Because here's the thing, you can go in there and do plan A every single day. Yes, you'll make some progress, but once you hit that wall, it's all internal work from there. Right? It's like, are you going in there and being purposeful with each movement? Right? Do you actually go in there and move weight from A to B? Right? Because it's different, bro. It's just levels, right? It's the same thing when it comes to business. There's levels to things and there's levels to training. And I spoke on that recently on our call too, bro. It's like, there's so much levels to things. Cause I remember when I was training, it was, again, I'm in this villain arc mindset. I hated who I was. I need to destroy this version of myself. And now I go into it for myself. I have no rage. You know what I mean? I have no rage, right? Because it's almost like I'm in flow when I'm training, right? It's like the world stops for a little bit. I can go in there. I could be in my zone and I come back on the other side and just like I recalibrate.
Do you think you derive more motivation from positive feelings or negative?
Now, positive.
What about when you first started?
Oh, negative, bro. It was all negative, right? Because the version of myself I didn't like. So it was like every rep I did, he was leaving my body.
Yeah.
Right? He's like leaving my body every single day. But now it's all positive, bro. Because I know the vision that I want to get to. And I know that if I keep tailing the negative side of it, I'll have I would have more of a bitter feeling when I left, or like if fitness had to end for me or something, you know, injuries, whatever it is, I would have a bitter moment. Like, man, like I just stemmed from so much negativity from doing this. Right. So it all has to be positive, you know?
Fuel from negativity can be so powerful,
100%,
but it's fleeting.
It is.
And eventually it runs out because I've had a similar journey where I've had to make the switch from getting motivated off of negative feelings to now being motivated off of positive feelings. So let me ask you, Danny, what was that transition for you from making that switch?
Okay. So when you're stemming from a lot of negativity, and you're in this monk mode, right? And it's very hustle culture nowadays. You see it all over Instagram, like, oh, disappear for 6 months and do all these things.
It's like the Batman Bane voice talking.
Yeah, or the winter arc.
Winter arc, like very dark aesthetic. Yeah,
exactly. But the thing is, like, people don't realize you don't need to suffer to win. People think the suffering mindset is like, oh man, I have to put myself in this whole 6 month not talking to anybody. But what does your success ladder mean then? Right. So for me, it's like when I pulled away from the negativity from training to more positive, that is my success ladder. Right. So when I started making progress in fitness, I wanted to make sure that my relationship was good. You know, I want to make sure my business is still thriving. Me personally, mentally, I'm still thriving. My internal mindset is still thriving. And that is my success ladder. Right. When you stem off of negativity, it really does cloud everything else in your success ladder. Right. Because you're trying to validate something, maybe or trying to get validation from somebody else because you're in this villain arc, like I'm going to prove something. I'm the only person I need to validate, you know? And that comes from the belief.
That's important.
Yeah. You're the only person that needs to validate it, bro. You know?
And ultimately, it comes down to clarity on what are your goals? What am I willing to sacrifice? But also, what am I willing to not sacrifice?
100%.
Like I was just having a conversation with my guy Henry yesterday. He's up here from the Arizona office for the week, and he was telling me about one of his old mentors in solar. And this guy's like very successful, like drives a 911, makes a lot of money. He's like, bro, when I'm in sales mode and I'm on the doors, like business comes first. I tell my wife, like, don't talk. And a year and a half later, you got a divorce. It's like, bro.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like there's certain things like, yeah, you're going to have to make sacrifices and you're going to have to say no to a lot of things, but also what are you willing to not, like, what are you willing to not lose
100%
to achieve your goals?
Yeah.
And thinking about that.
Yeah, I think that's so important, man. As I gotten older too, man, like obviously your values, your core values change, right? Because when you're a single guy, dude, and you're like on this villain arc, perfect. You know what I mean? Like nothing really matters. But once you have somebody else and you take care of, it's a little bit different, bro. You know what I mean? It's a very, very different. And for me, it's like it continues to evolve over time. You know what I mean? Like, dude, getting married was the best thing, bro. You know what I mean?
Really is.
Yeah, dude. It's like,
really is.
There's no more seeking. There's no more nothing, bro. It's like, hey, you're my one.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this shit, right? Till death do us apart.
And I really believe the best thing that any man can do is find his true ride or die.
100%.
Find his one. And it's biblical too. It talks about that in the Bible, where the kryptonite, and I've seen this time and time again. I'm sure you've seen this too. Like the kryptonite to a lot of successful guys is they'll be so locked in during the week, like schedule be on point, workouts, working, moving the needle, and the weekend hits are like, I'm going to go to the club.
100%.
I'm going to go to the bar.
Hey.
Or I'm going to hop on Tinder real quick, hit up this chick.
Lust is like, very strong.
Bro, lust.
Lust is very strong, bro.
It will derail. It's the lust and greed are the kryptonite to men.
Yeah. Who was the guy in the Bible? What's his name?
King Solomon.
Yeah. Even he.
Proverbs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even he.
The wisest man to ever live.
But still dealt with what?
Women.
Yeah.
Had 237 wives.
That's what I'm saying, right?
Most beautiful women in the world.
Yeah. The wisest, yet. That's what most men deal with,
Same thing with Samson.
Yeah.
The wisest man and the strongest man in the Bible both fell to women.
Yeah.
And dealt with
Yeah. And I think that's very important.
Fell to lust.
I think that's very important because when we have those like moments where it is lust, I mean, we're human, we're males, right? It's like you have to get back to like, where does this stem from? Right? What are you not receiving that you want in the moment? Right? Like, what are you not receiving? Are you stressed? Are you tired? Do you just want something that's greener on the other side when it's not? You know? And for me, dude, it's like, you know, having somebody, and the biggest moment for me was obviously, you know, from the wedding itself is just seeing, you know, my wife's dad hand her over. I think it was a big solidifying moment. It's like, I got you. You know what I mean? It's like, I'll take care of you, you know? And I think that was a huge moment, bro, because I can almost put myself in his shoes. Like, dang, like, what if I had a daughter, you know, and I'm handing over to this guy that I fully trust with my heart, you know, that you're going to take care.
I've thought about that.
Yeah, dude. I have those perspectives. I don't know why. I've always done that, dude. Where I'm driving, I'm sitting at a red light, a car's turning, I put myself in their shoes driving that car, looking at me, you know, even when I'm on this podcast right now, I can almost see like my best version standing at that door, looking at me if I'm giving my best. Right. Because the biggest thing for me, it's like, I don't like small talk. I want to give my best when I'm there because time's very valuable. Right. That's why I have it on my arm, you know? And that's why, like you said, if you can time block and you understand the value of time and your energy, then you always give your best. You know, you always give your best. You almost want to have that angel-like version looking from the outside. Are you doing things correctly? You know, are you cheating your way to the top? Are you doing things ethically? Right. Because at the end of the day, bro, if you're a good person, things happen.
Things happen.
Yeah, things happen to good people, bro. It might not seem like that at the beginning. Yeah. You know?
Danny, let me ask you, transitioning more to fitness and just what is your plan for longevity? Because whatever I'm doing now, most importantly, I'm focused on, like, my most important goal is being healthy in my 40s, 50s, and 60s. Because you could be the wealthiest person, you could be on a yacht, but if you're sick or you have cancer, none of it matters.
100%.
We've all heard the saying is you get a wish, you wish for 1,000 wishes. But if you're unhealthy and you're sick, you get a wish, you wish to be healthy.
100%. Longevity wise, man, obviously bodybuilding isn't the most healthiest, right? It isn't the most healthiest. And I think a lot of people nowadays get into bodybuilding for the wrong reasons, right? Because if social media wasn't here, I would still be doing it. I did it before social media was popping. Every kid wants to do a bodybuilding show. Every kid wants to hop on their first cycle. Because why? Right? Because it's cool. Instant. It's instant gratification, right? They want the fast results, right? And who doesn't like things fast, right? But for me, man, it's like without all of that, I still enjoy the development side of it. It's a whole lifestyle, right? Same thing for you, man. Your whole lifestyle is circulated around fitness. And I think that's so important that
it's the one thing that helps me stay grounded.
Of course. Imagine if you didn't have fitness, you just worked.
That'd suck.
Yeah.
That'd suck.
Imagine how much of that energy you would have that goes into everything else, right? And you'd be more reactive, right?
And it's also just one thing I really enjoy.
Yeah.
Like when we were on vacation, I worked out a lot.
That's what I'm saying.
Just because like I just enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
And it's fun. And it's like you could be having like, dude, and we all deal with stuff like whether it's personal, business, this person's doing this person's stressed out. But one thing that's reassuring to me is the most important things in life nobody can take away from you. Nobody can take away your health.
Nope.
Nobody can take away your relationships, and nobody can take away, your fitness. And if everything was falling apart, I would still go to the gym.
100%.
I'd still do the same thing. When things are going great, I stay locked in the gym. When things aren't going great, I still stay locked in the gym, and that's how I'm able to compartmentalize and stay grounded. Mm-hmm. And it's like when you're in that weight, and one thing I've learned from you is just your level of maniacal focus when you're lifting the weight. Where it's like whenever I'm lifting it, is like I remember you telling me this on a call. You're like, you know how locked in dudes are of like if they're like lifting the weight, they're like looking around.
Yeah.
But like the guys that are like whoosh, like repping it.
Yeah.
And locked in. It's a form of meditation. And it's the same thing when I'm working. Like, dude, when I'm in the zone, like I'll forget what time it is.
Exactly.
I'll forget what day of the week is because I'm so locked in. I'm in flow mode.
Yeah. It's hard to fake flow.
Yeah.
Right. Like you can't truly fake flow. Right. It's the same thing as like if you did a speaking event and you're just hitting every note that you want, you're in flow. Right. And that's something people can't take away. And I truly believe exactly what you said, man. You hit the nail on the coffin there. Right. It's like the gym is the biggest paradigm shift. What's the one place that is designed that you can go in there, turn the world off for a little bit and just focus on yourself?
The gym.
Yeah. It's the only place. Right. It's like nobody's gone there going to pick it up for you. They're all just sitting there. You know what I mean? Like, think about it. If you really took a step back and viewed it as that, okay, all the equipment's in here. There's great music, good energy in here, but I have to still do work. Like I still have to go do work. Dang, like, God, dude, I have to go lift weights. I get to be better. Like, what a blessing. Like,
that sucks.
Yeah, what a blessing.
That's important though, because it's all it is going back to what we were talking about earlier about perspective. Mm-hmm. Where anytime I haven't wanted to work out or I haven't wanted to go to work, I think about, dude, there's somebody in a wheelchair right now that would kill. They would give everything they have just to get one more workout in. Yeah. Or like if I don't want to go to work, of like, dude, there's somebody in Afghanistan or the Middle East or China where they would kill to have the opportunity in the job that we have to make the amount of money we can make.
Dude. It's a luxury, bro.
Yeah, it really is. Like they're working just as hard and they're not making nearly as much as. So it's like whatever, and you could apply that to anything. Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't want to spend time with my kids. Like, dude, like some people can't. Some people don't 100%. Have kids and they want kids.
Yeah, life,
whatever
it
is.
Yeah, dude, life is all perspective, man. You know what I mean? And the more that you can do that creates wisdom. And for me, over the years, man, like, I mean, anybody who can go to the gym is a luxury.
Yeah.
Whether you're eating correctly, you have a certain goal, it is a luxury. Right. And the word itself, luxury, Jonah, I had to redefine that a couple times, brother. I had to redefine that a couple times through my life. As you start making money, you start solidifying yourself in the industry and you're just like, luxury. Let me get a new car. Let me get this brand new watch. Let me go get this designer bag. Right. And then now it's like, of course, I still like the finer things in life. Right.
It's fleeting.
Yeah. But for me now, real luxury is waking up with peace in my mind. Right? Sitting outside right now when the weather's getting a little chilly in the mornings with my wife, having a cup of coffee, just in silent. That is real luxury, right? When you have no noise, no distraction, that is real luxury, right? Because every single day you will have that noise every day, whether it's that bitch voice inside telling you, hey, you got to get up and do it. But it's the biggest thing, bro, I will say is like, as you get more and more developed and you grow, you have to go back to the words that you usually use and redefine them. Because I guarantee it changes, right? What does success mean now? What does success mean when you first started, and what does it mean now?
The needle is always moving.
Always moving, right? So the words that you continue to use, you have to redefine them. That's why so many people are like, oh, what's the next? No. What are the current words that you're saying out of your mouth every single day? Redefine what they mean. You know, redefine what those actually mean, and then you will realize like how much you have grown.
It's an interesting concept to think about.
100%. Anything
like,
you say.
We have these words in our mind of, oh, success, luxury, this, that, but what does that actually mean?
Exactly.
What does success mean to you?
Yeah.
And then your first thought is different than the actual definition. Like you might think success, like, oh, flashy cars, big house, this, but success is, like you said, just, and the older I get, the more I enjoy the simple things. And especially,
why is that?
Because it's the things money can't buy.
There you go.
And it's the things that you can never, it's the moments you can never get back. Or like this weekend also put it in perspective where it's like, dude, we were just sitting on the beach, listening to the waves and enjoying the sunshine.
Yeah.
Like, dude, being from the Midwest and being from the cold, like, I'll never take the sunshine for granted ever again. And it's like those simple things where I could really see myself 10, 20 years down the road, or when I'm older retiring, just like giving all my money away and just buying a beach house and living on an island.
Yep.
That's been my goal ever since I was a little kid. Just like live the simple island life, wake up, eat fresh food, eat whole foods that I cooked in my garden, surf, get sunshine, lift weights, and just be at peace.
Dude.
Be at peace.
Yeah. Sounds like success to me, brother.
Yeah.
Sounds like success to me. Right. And that's why you notice like, you know, the older guys, right, who are very, you know, mature in their industry, like maybe they're retired. Why are they so calm? Why are they not so loud anymore? Right? They don't have the loud Lambo. Why are they so calm?
Because they've achieved what they want to achieve.
They've already maxed out, I would say, right? In the things they want.
It's a tightrope.
It is.
It's a dangerous road to cross.
Yeah.
Because they've done studies and they found that the earlier you retire, the earlier you die.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why they always say, if you don't move, you start decaying.
So how can you be at peace without decaying or declining?
Yeah.
I call it blissful discontentment, where you're happy and thankful for what you have, but you're always seeking to progress and get to that next level.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think having fitness at the forefront of all that will always be there. Right? Because if you continue to work on yourself, you continue to have a bigger vision, you see yourself. Right? It's like going to the gym, you get a pump. You know, you look in the mirror, like, wow, that's what I could look like. And the pump goes away. It's like a pump effect. You know, it's like you see your arms like, man, my arms look like they grew 3 inches, and then they kind of deflate when they go back home. That is just your future self. So it's like the continuous work to see yourself there. So to kind of go back what you said, in terms of like, you know, people getting into fitness and longevity wise, obviously, like I said, bodybuilding isn't the healthiest thing, but for me, it's like, I want to leave the bodybuilding side competitively with with the most gratitude I can, right? And I always speak on it, bro. Like, you know, I'm 2,600 calories right now. Output's crazy high. I'm fatigued. Do I even need to do this podcast? But here's the thing, bro. I love it. You know what I mean? Because where I feel the most uncomfortable always leads me to the next thing. That's why I always say every prep for people is chasing a trophy. Every prep for me is the biggest personal development, right? I realign myself to things because when you're not focusing on a direct goal like that, where it is a competitive goal where you have to look your best at a timeline, you know, you kind of let things off like, oh, I'm waking up a little later, right? Or, hey, the gym's just a little bit later. Now it's like every second of the day is used wisely, bro, because you only have so much energy to push, you know? So longevity wise, once I retire and I'm done from this, I want to leave it with a good, happy soul and be like, man, I did my thing. I did everything I could with no regrets. And then on the other side, it's like, I'll transition over going back to more functional running, bro. Yeah. I'll downgrade a little bit, you know what I mean? Downsize, and then just be like, hey, I'm gonna get back to functional, moving the way I do. But that's why I always try to keep the whole mobility into what I'm doing. Cause I know it's not always guaranteed. You know what I mean? Life changes, bro. You know, next couple of years I have a kid. Where is that going to lead me? Yeah. You know, into doing it. That's why I enjoy every second of it, bro. Every second. Because for me, it's like, maybe I won't need to train balls to the wall when I'm like 30, late 30s, 40s, right? Maybe I can go in there 3 days a week, maybe do a little bit of cardio, a little bit of, you know, some running outside, enjoying the sun, right? And then still train intensely on some days. You know, I always believe I'll always have the intensity factor of things because it's just how I move. I like to really go hard and push my body.
Absolutely.
But to kind of pull back from like the very intense preps, you know, there's not a need for it anymore, right? I'll transition being a very good family man, being the best dad I can, and then showing my kids, whether it's boy or girl, some fitness as well, right? Because my girl loves fitness too, bro. You know what I mean? It's really helped our relationship. In terms of just building a team effort, like we have systems, bro. We wake up, we do our morning drink. She makes the rice right away. I get the meats prepped for us. It's a whole teamwork, bro. You know, I'd never go home in a day where the rice isn't made for the next meal, right? And then when I'm doing some work, the chicken's already made with the third meal I'm ready to eat. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's a whole team effort, bro. And, you know, and for us, it's like supporting each other in this and purposeful endeavor. I don't know, man. It's cool to have like somebody, like you said, a ride or die that does the same thing as you, believing in you. Because dude, there's some days where, the doubts creep, like, hey, am I even good enough? All these things. But you have somebody there saying like, hey, you're controlling what you can, you're controlling everything you can from the meals, from the recovery, and it keeps your mind in a good headspace. And I think that's so important. When you're chasing a direct goal, you need that.
Amen. And seek discomfort.
Yeah.
Like every single day I wake up is how can I get uncomfortable? How can I stay uncomfortable? Because that's where development and progression comes from. Danny, in last question before we wrap up, if you go back 10 years to the teenage version of Danny, what advice would you give to your past self?
Ooh, that's a good one, bro. I love these questions. I love these questions. A good advice is, I would say, would you say more in terms of in fitness or just in general?
Anything.
Okay. I would say allow myself, young DT, okay? Allow myself to see the beauty in things because you already have it. Young DT didn't see that.
How so?
Young DT was always chasing for more. I was the middle child, right? I want to be better than my older brother, right? My dad had this like big vision for myself because I was going to be a dentist.
I could not see that.
Yeah.
Danny is the dentist.
I know. I was bodybuilding that time. I was going to be a dentist.
Yeah.
I was going for my bio associates. And then right when I got in that big major, I switched to right to exercise science and I just took off, bro. That's when things really took off for me. Like I enjoyed my classes. It was so purposeful. But yeah, that would be the thing for me, bro.
My brother.
I allow myself to see the light in things because even though, we're always chasing for more, right? The things I have right now is everything I've always wanted. The job I have right now, continue to help people. It's everything I've always wanted, bro. Obviously we always want more. We're human. We're always striving for more, moving the needle forward. But if you can just appreciate what you truly have, I think that is the biggest slingshot you can ever have.
Don't forget to stop and smell the flowers.
Yeah.
Danny, I could go for another 3 hours, but we're out of time.
100%, brother.
My brother.
That was great.
That was great. Appreciate you, dog.
Yeah. That's a wrap.